Hello everybody, welcome back to another Pioneer video. Sorry for the delay in the videos, I've been pretty busy as of late. However, recently I have been playing around with some pretty interesting Black-Green X rock builds in Pioneer. And so I have this one to present to you guys today, kind of a Golgari Delirium slash lands slash value type of oriented build. I started out so obviously I've been familiar with Delirium, at least, black-green Delirium in the format. Not very good as of late, obviously, with, just Rakdos being the best mid-range deck in the format. However, I did kind of want to branch out from playing the, regular decks, the normal decks in the format, try to brew around with something interesting as for a change. And so with this build, I kind of felt that going down the Traverse package with Reclaimer and Vraska Golgari Queen was kind of just seemed kind of intuitive and brought a really nice kind of unique shell that kind of utilized both Delirium assets with cards like Ishkana, obviously Grimflayer and Traverse, but also brought in pretty interesting cards like Elvish Reclaimer. And Elvish Reclaimer is a card that hasn't really seen much play in Pioneer, more play in Legacy or Modern. However, I think it is pretty interesting in Pioneer. I feel like if a card like Bojuka Bog was printed into the format, I think you'd see a lot more play, and it would be more of a regular card to see. However, as of now, I'm not sure how this card stands. I'm recording this after playing the League, so I do have some information about how the deck is functioning. However, nonetheless, I feel like Elvish Reclaimer is still really interesting, and I really like building around it just because it's so. I like toolbox type of decks, and I think Elvish Reclaimer really fits nicely into obviously those decks and decks that utilize graveyards like this Delirium build. And so with Reclaimer, we could really have some nice lands. So we have 7 of these unique lands that we could fetch up, obviously alongside the usual dual lands that we have. Actually, surprisingly enough, I have noticed that I fetched up Fable Passage a lot, just because it adds yet another land into the graveyard, just to get kind of the buff of Elvish Reclaimer if we need it. Other than that, most of the time, just going either for a Hive of the Eye Tyrant or a Lair of the Hydra, I found most common. And obviously, I think that's been really good. Having the other 5 cards, I guess, kind of don't really count Urborg, but having the other 4 cards, maybe not Takenuma actually. So just Blast Zone, Field, and Castle Lockbane has been very nice for us. Probably the least impressive has been Blast Zone. I think this came up maybe once in the League of it being good, but other than that, not very interesting. So that's kind of why I've been saying, or that's why I said, if a card like Bojuka Bog was printed into the format, or Sagiria Step, then Elvish Reclaimer would be a lot better. However, just for the sake of testing, for the sake of brewing something unique, I really wanted to try this out. Another interesting kind of interaction we have is obviously we have Vraska and Tireless Tracker. Being able to plus on your clue tokens is very nice. Another one, Elvish Reclaimer plus Ramunap Excavator is very nice. Just getting a lot of value out of, say, obviously just sacking your regular lands and bringing them back, getting more clue tokens, say, if you have a Tyler's Tracker, getting to Delirium faster with Grimflayer or Ishkana or Traverse. Or what I found to be most impactful is to just keep on field and ruining your opponent that has very few basics. And I found that a lot of Pioneer decks have very few basics, if any. And so once I put in the Ramunap Excavator, I was like, maybe we could kind of build a toolbox shell out of this with Traverse the Uvenwald. And so once I put Traverse in the deck out, it kind of all came together. We obviously have the one of Ishkana we could find. We have a couple of Scavenging Oozes we could find. Obviously, I think Tyler's Tracker was probably just the most common card to get. But we did have some, other unique pieces of interaction, just, such as Ramunap Excavator, obviously Setsu's. Sometimes I got Grimflayer just for some aggressive damage. And yeah, other than that, I think the for the sideboard, as far as the sideboard goes, we have a lot of interesting options in black green. I have the fourth Decay just because I think Graveyard Trespasser is very prominent in the format right now, and this card is obviously great against it. It's a 1-for-1 with that card. And then Deathrite Shaman. Not sure how I feel about this card in the format. I feel like it's great against Phoenix. You really can control your opponent's graveyard. It's obviously great against Greasefang, other graveyard-centric decks, so I feel like it's still pretty, interesting to test out, see where it is in the format. And then the other sideboard pieces are pretty standard, maybe aside from Chevel, which I think is very good against aggro, and even midrange. And I think that Go Blank is kind of a necessary include in any black sideboards, just because this card is so good against decks that either utilize graveyards or just utilize mid-range elements that can be taken apart from just these simple 2-for-1s. So obviously I let you guys know that I played the league before recording this intro, so if I were to make a change, I don't know if you guys have noticed so far, but not running any like double pip cards. So Jegantha is a free include, so I'd probably take at the third Chevel for Jegantha. I just completely did not. My mind has not been around companions recently, so did not think of that. However, that would be a free include. And then probably take out these 2 Heartless Axe for 2 Assassin's Trophies, just because I felt like got pretty wrecked by Hall of Storm Giants a couple times, and Assassin's Trophy is great against that card. And Heartless Axe is kind of too narrow and not very impactful, and I would use it against, say, like a Kalidas when they have a token, like a zombie token out, and it wouldn't be relevant at all. And so I'd probably just play Assassin's Trophy over this. And I don't think the downside of opponents getting a land is that relevant, because as I said, I think a lot of decks in Pioneer play very few basics, aside from, say, like mono green. Rakdos plays a few, but other than that, most of the decks play very few basic lands. As far as the 1-drop interactions, at least for the black cards, I like the 4 Fatal Push and the 4 Thoughtseize, obviously. I think this deck is very good. It's a very good Fatal Push deck because we have the Fatal Passages that already go well with, Delirium and Tracker. And then we do have the Field of Ruin, Blast Zone can even get Revolt. Elvish Reclaimer gets Revolt, Vraska gets Revolt, Stacking Clues to Tracker gets Revolt, so I think this is just a great, one of the premium Fatal Push decks in the format right now. Bloodchief's Thirst is a bit more complicated. I like this card against Phoenix because it hits Ledger Shredder. It's another 1 mana removal alongside Fatal Push that gets rid of Ledger Shredder, which is a pretty problematic card for this deck. So this deck already has quite a bit of removal with the 3 Decays, the Heartless Axe, Fatal Pushes obviously, and the Golgari Queens with -3. So I think maybe playing like a Cling to Dust in place of one of the Thirsts could be good. Or maybe we just want 1 extra aggressive creature, say like a Knight of the Ebon Legion, or some 2-drop, maybe like Skyclave Shade, something interesting like that plays well with lands as well. Could be maybe something to think about. However, I think I am pretty satisfied with the deck. Ishkana is I thought this card would be very good against Phoenix. However, it doesn't attack very well, and it just dies to a Lightning Axe. And the blockers are nice, but it's just not a very proactive card. It's very defensive, and I think if you want to have game against Phoenix, you want to be disruptive and aggressive at the same time. And so I think playing an Elder Gargaroth in this slot would be a lot better. Elder Gargaroth doesn't die to Lightning Axe and is a lot more of a resilient threat that can attack. It only dies to like a Strangle plus Fiery Impulse, something like that, where they have to at least use 2 cards to get rid of it. I guess it's fair to say that Lightning Lightning Axe does require 2 cards to kill Ishkana, but Lightning Axe obviously does not kill Elder Gargaroth, so that's why I feel like, you know, putting the Gargaroth in place of Ishkana is probably just a lot better. That would mean you can't play Giganta, which, you know, that may be relevant. I have been thinking about playing, a lot of the times when I play Traverse with Delirium, I really want a removal spell, so maybe something like Ravenous Chupacabra would be nice, and obviously that is a double pip card with double black, so would kind of go along with the theme of, you know, playing more into not Giganta, I guess. I guess that would be more reasoning to not play Giganta, to play the Elder Gargaroth in place of Ishkana. Just some things to think about for the deck. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed the intro. Unfortunately, do not have any commentary for the matches, so just going to be playing with the recordings of them. Hope you guys enjoy and have a nice day. Thank you.